for April 1st. You have another office visit on April 26th with the pediatrician. You have another office visit on May 28th with the pediatrician. You have another office visit on August 1st with the pediatrician. You have another office visit. No, there are none other listed here. So those are the office visits that you have with the pediatrician. All right, Mr. Maher, I'd like to hear from you, sir.
This is a patient consultant text for the 2 drugs that I refused to pay for. The Ritalin, that's the toothpaste and the vitamins. Because I believe you could use Crest and a vitamin and get bottled water, and that would go away. I believe her back problems would go away if she would stand tall, put a book on her head.
Well, you're not a doctor either. She has
No, I'm
pains.
not.
She has pains in her back. Yeah, go ahead.
A little common sense would go a long way.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When it appears to me that a child is overly involved with the medical profession, bells go off in my head. I guess it's part of my training.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Judy Mattson is fighting with her ex-husband, Don Marr, over whether he should pay half of their daughter's extraordinary medical bills. Don says Judy is turning their daughter into a hypochondriac.
What else, sir?
There's a set of bills from June 23rd, 1996, in our correspondence. And basically, I refused to pay bills that were older than 30 days. She had gotten really lax. There are bills in there that are a year. This is 1 week before I'm going to see the child. I get $465 worth of bills. That's going to ensure the fact that I can't do the things I'd planned. So I paid 30 days and said, I'm not paying the rest, Judy. I'm not paying that, I'm not paying that, I'm not paying that. And she says, well, why not? You're the father, you're supposed to pay. And I said, because I am a responsible parent, I can't. I mustn't pay.
What else? Because I don't think that that's what you're complaining about, sir.
No, I'm really complaining about the misuse of my daughter. I'm really complaining about taking her to this doctor and that doctor and this doctor and running her all around, and she can't be a kid. That's really what I'm angry about. And I'm angry. It's got to stop. I don't know how. Don't know how to make this stop. I can think
of several ways, sir, that seem to be reasonable. Do you have a copy of your judgment of divorce, either one of you?
I do.
May I take a look at it, please? This was an agreement that you hammered out between the 2 of you, I assume, either through mediation or by attorneys. Is that right?
Attorneys.
Through attorneys. You're not supposed to smile when you say that, sir. Look, I do not get the sense, Miss Mattson, that your former husband wants to be anything but a good parent to this child and wants to be remiss in his financial responsibility. I say that because he is faithful in paying his child support. He does pay for certain of her medical and dental bills. He does pay for her orthodontic bills. He does pay for other bills. I will tell you that I was concerned when I read your papers. I'll tell you why. Whenever I see a child, a young child who is otherwise healthy, go to a doctor as frequently as your daughter does and have as many kinds of prescription medications as your daughter has, even though some of them can be acquired over the counter with a little bit of imagination. When a child is taken to a chiropractor without any specific referral by an orthopedist, when it appears to me that a child is overly involved with the medical profession, bells go off in my head. I guess it's part of my training. That sometimes there's a problem not so much with the child, but with the custodial parent.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't think that he has to pay anything for this child's chiropractor unless he was consulted and was satisfied that that was a reasonable thing and a necessary treatment for his child. Now, I wouldn't say that with all parents who come before me, because I would say, listen, he may withhold his consent, and that would be unreasonable. But because of his history of payment and of visiting the child regularly and being involved with the child, my sense is that Mr. Maher would not deny his only biological child with the necessary medical treatment that she needs. I tell you now that the reasons that you give for your daughter seeing this, continuing to see this is it Miss Christensen or Mr. Christensen?
Miss Christensen.
I am not satisfied with those reasons. I can absolutely see why a child going through a period of divorce would be served well if both parents are involved, initially and for a brief period of time, some ongoing family counseling. It's not to be used as a lifelong crutch. If you have a child who suffers from ADD, and unfortunately, I believe that that is a highly over-touted illness today. Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, the child should not be on Ritalin unless the child is tested.
She has been tested.
No. Not in 3 years, except for a teacher who writes up reports. A teacher.
No. Her therapist, she went to 2 different therapists and her pediatrician.
A psychiatrist?
Yes.
A psychiatrist? A PhD?
No.
Show me.
No,
I'd love to see the report.
Just a second. There is nothing here.
No.
There is nothing here that suggests to me that this child saw, other
That's
than
because he paid the bill.
Other than Dr. Christensen, a psychiatrist, that's an MD.
That's because he paid the bill, Your Honor.
What I'm telling you is, I think any parent who keeps a child on Ritalin for anywhere near approaching a year without testing to ensure that it is absolutely necessary for this child is making a tragic mistake. Ritalin is overprescribed. 40% of kids, 12 o'clock in schools today, you ring a bell, 40% of the class gets up and runs into the nurse to get their pill. And I want to tell you something. I sat in the family court for 15 years, and I was in the family court for almost a quarter of a century. And these kinds of medications are prescribed at least as often for the parents as they are for the children. That's a problem. Once you begin to believe that you can use a therapist as a crutch, and that starts as early as 5 and 6 and 7, and your child has been in therapy for 3 years, and I haven't seen any reason why. So I'm not ordering you to pay for therapy. And what I am telling you is, in the future, would be my judgment, unless it's an emergency, before you incur any medical expense that you expect him to contribute to, you discuss it with him and get his approval. And if you cannot get his approval, then the two of you sit down and decide, call up the American Medical Association, get the name of the top specialist in your area. The two of you go, have a consultation. You choose one. Choose 2. Have your consultation, and let the best therapist, the best professional in the area make a judgment as to whether this medical procedure is necessary. Aside from that, I'm not ordering to pay anything. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I only take her to the doctor when she's sick, or when she's hurting, or when she's been prescribed by the doctor to see another professional.
Either stop it or be back in court. What do you say? Either cut it out or be back in court. You'll lose your job. You'll be back in court. You'll lose that kid. Because I'm not going to play no more games.